Hello there, this is Barbara from Grab and Go Language Resources, and I just thought I would show you how I use Tarsia puzzles in my classes. So I'm just going to share the screen with you. There we go. So this is a puzzle that I've used in class recently. The puzzles are easy to make. There is an online Tarsia maker that you can just go in and put in your questions and answers or your translations or whatever it is that you want to work on. And I'll drop the link in the post below so that you can go and make your own if you want, but there are several on the Grab and Go site as well. So this is one that I've just used. You can use Tarsia puzzles in lots of different ways. You can use it for activities to introduce new vocab, or you can use it during the acquisition process, or you can even use it as a plenary. And I've used this as a plenary in my classes. This particular puzzle is one where I was looking at structures and expressions using avoir, être, aller, and faire. And we have already worked on these expressions. The learners have practiced them, and I just wanted to check their understanding and their recall. So I went on to the puzzle maker, dropped in the phrases and expressions that I wanted to work on, and I made this puzzle. So you can make it in different shapes, triangles, there's octagons, there's other ones as well that you can choose from. So just a reminder, I put the link in the comments below so that you'll be able to make your own if you want to. So this is the answer. This is the thing that you get when you create your Tarsia. And I'll just move it down. So this is what you print and cut out. So you can probably see that a bit easier. You have the expressions in English and in French on the different axes of the different lines of what is a pyramid, in fact. So these have to be cut out so that the learners or the students can then put them back together again. And they will, hopefully, if they've done it right, get this. I'm just making that a bit bigger. So there you can see that if they get this correct, then they have matched up the English and French versions of the expressions that you've been learning. Now, that's one way. That's sort of a fairly straightforward way of using it. So what I've also done as well to take this a little bit further and to extend the activity is to then ask each learner or the pairs to take each triangle and test each other. Basically, they're just testing each other on the vocabulary that they've learned or the translations or helping each other to recall things. So that can be an oral activity. You can do that as a writing activity. So I did that as an oral activity, getting the pairs, the trios to test each other out on the vocab that they just learned and practice there within this puzzle, but also to have that there as a check to see whether they've got the translations correct or not, as the case may be. And what I then did as well was use this as a writing exercise. So I used a whiteboard. I did this as a whiteboard exercise, handed out whiteboards, pens and rubbers, and I give them the English, they wrote down the French, and they just simply held them up. So very, very simple, and that really helps the recall. Now, the next stage that you could do is, if you wanted to, is these are phrases usually with infinitives. So what the next stage would be to get the learners to then manipulate these phrases and put them into sentences. So avoir froid, for example, you could ask them to put everything in the present tense and say j'ai froid. you could then say, okay, translate into the imperfect tense, into j'avais froid. So this is what you're looking for. You could do this as whiteboard activities. You could also do this as written activities, as dictation. You could also do this as an oral activity. So I hope that gives you an overview of what you can do with these Tarsia puzzles. And they can, they look very simple, and they're quite simple to make if you want to make them yourself. But also they can be quite powerful as well, and they can really get the students to reflect on their learning and to see what they have learned and what they haven't learned. So then you can as well see what they've learned and what they haven't learned, and maybe what you and they need to work on a little bit more. So there are several of these puzzles in the Grab and Go Resource Centre. And also in the Grab and Go shop. So if you would like to sign up, or just follow the link in the comments below, and you will be very warmly welcomed into the Grab and Go Resource Centre.